In this episode of Crisis and Consequences, we uncover the unbelievable cruelty the Turpin children endured at the hands of their parents, all behind closed doors. Not for days, not for weeks, but for decades. This one is definitely on the list of the most horrific child abuse cases in American history. It's a story of captivity, of starvation, of chains literally fastened to beds. But it's also a story of survival, of courage, and of a 17-year-old girl who decided that if she died trying to escape, at least she died trying.
Welcome to Crisis and Consequences, a true crime podcast with a purpose. We dive into murder stories and the complicated humans behind them, blending storytelling, dark humor, and real conversation. Listener discretion is advised. This podcast contains dark, troubling, and explicit content.
Well, hi. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. Crisis and Consequences podcast with a purpose. And your host with the lisp. All right. This is one of those days where they're not a sponsor, but the box rescue remedy things. I'm eating them like crazy because it's a very stressful day.
It is.
So it's a little whatever pasty thing in my mouth.
Yeah.
Induced lisp for this celebratory.
It's all right. We'll deal with it.
Hi, KV. How are you today?
I'm as good as you are.
Oh, love for the love of the nonprofit space.
It's so hard. It's it's always a struggle. I think everybody who works in the nonprofit, you always do more work. You know what I mean? You're always
else.
Yes, and you're just kind of running like crazy. And then the work that we do is for a good cause. Like it's for a great cause. And to have to constantly struggle to make ends meet and to, just.
And then when you think about that and you're like, funding is scarce and you see 150 people plus staff relying on you.
Yeah.
It freaking sucks.
Absolutely. And that's funny because I feel like there are days where we all kind of have those feelings where it's just like, but we love it. We love it here. We love the people we serve. And, on our good days, it's like we are really rocking and rolling. We've done so much. We've so
kicked ass.
much.
Our guests have kicked
stuff.
ass.
We really have.
Really is incredible.
That's the other thing. We have really high goals all the time as well. And so, I wouldn't have it any other way. All right.
Well, so that's my crisis.
Both of our crises.
Running a nonprofit is one of the best and worst things you can possibly do on the planet.
All right.
All right. So disclaimer up front before we begin. I want to note this podcast episode covers very serious descriptions of child abuse, torture, and neglect. So please take care as you listen. This one's more recent. And holy moly. This one got me rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to blow your mind. You ready?
Yeah. I guess
sure?
I'm never ready, but yes.
Are you
I'm buckled in. I got my pillow.
Gotcha. Okay.
I got my pillow here to squeeze for comfort.
Oh, do we have our questions for
We don't.
Stay tuned? You want to message her quick? Stay tuned because we had a staff retreat and they wanted to see what's it called? Crisis hotline.
Yeah, our crisis and consequences
hotline, which is answering some questions. So we've had some people send in questions, so we're going to address those at the end. So if you want kind of a palate cleanser after this horrific story, then we're going to read some questions that were sent in and really do our best to inject humor into them.
Yes.
Let's begin at the beginning. So Dave and Louise Turpin, these are the parents of the 13 siblings who are the subject of our story today.
13. So are they all theirs or are they adopted?
They're all theirs.
Oh, wow.
How her uterus hasn't just, I don't know. That's really incredible.
That is incredible. Maybe they started young. I feel like.
Well, they did for sure start young. So I'll get to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so David was born October 17th of 61 in West Virginia. He was a computer engineering graduate at Virginia Tech. He worked for Lockheed Martin. He worked for Northrop Grumman, very reputable companies. Smart dude. And then he met Louise Robinette at Princeton High School in Princeton, West Virginia. They married in 1985 in Parisburg, Virginia when he was 23 and she was 16.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So is
so
a
young.
baby.
Yes.
Yeah, so she's a baby. He's a pedophile. And they originally identified as Pentecostal Christians. And I apologize if any of you are Pentecostals, but I've done my episode on why that's not my jam and the things I endured at the hands of the Pentecostals as a child. So to me, this just tracks. But as I mentioned, they had 13 children. They had 10 daughters and 3 sons born between 88 and 2015. And their faith, they said, is what called on them to have many children.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't calling on them to parent their children and treat their children with dignity or nurturing or care. It's like what they did with their children after they were born. Another matter entirely, right?
That doesn't add
And
up.
so at first they lived in and around Fort Worth, Texas until about 1999. So he was working at Lockheed Martin. He's an engineer. While in Texas, their eldest daughter, Jennifer, started public school. And she said that children were really unkind to her when she did attend school, likely because she lived in filth and squalor. There is some type of mental illness, and I don't know if it was like like he caught it by osmosis, but it's definitely the mom
Okay.
is not happy unless she's in clutter and squalor. And when I mean clutter,
Like hoarders.
hoarding, but it's trash, it's feces, it's okay, your animal dies and you just leave it there. It's effing disgusting. I mean, it's just disgusting. So, and you know that rancid smell of decomp
Oh, gosh.
and feces? This poor child smelled like that. And, you know, she never had clean hair or clothes. They didn't bathe their kids more than once a year.
What?
Okay. So the school took notice and said, hey, we'd like to know what's going on here. And so the Turpin solution yanked her out of school.
Of course.
And they never let any of their other children go to school ever again.
See, that's
So-
why I'm like, I wish they would have just called, like, social services.
Yeah, go see the house or go do something. So she was removed after 3rd grade. So this precious, precious baby, like she starts teaching her younger siblings anything she learned through 3rd grade because they were not getting schooled. So she was just like trying to like now be the parent. But there were times when she also had to be the disciplinarian, like she's forced to be the disciplinarian or she was going to be disciplined. And when I get to that point, I mean, parents who actually love their children cannot fathom doing these things. But the homeschooling program that they said they were doing, it was not happening. And there was no oversight and no one was checking into it. So Jennifer spoke of being terrified every single day of her life, wondering like which version of her dad was going to come home. What type of punishment was she going to endure that day? She spoke of being beaten with a belt until she bled, being stuffed into dog kennels, which fortunately that never happened to me, being locked in homemade cages. And as the family grew, David and Louise's lifestyle like took priority to tending to their children. So there were rumors, but in multiple sources, there were rumors that they really liked to party and then they started like swinging, wanted to live large. And so they took all the kids and they moved them to a trailer behind the house. Like they just couldn't be bothered. They wanted to eat what they wanted and do what they wanted and have the lifestyle they wanted. And God told them to have children, but they didn't want to deal with the children, so they just pop them out and
So, like, here's your
stick them
children.
in the trailer, and then the kids are raising each other. Yeah. So they're in this trailer behind the house. Sometimes they'd be left for weeks on end without seeing their parents. They were relegated to eating grass after the weekly groceries that Louise would drop off would run out. I mean, they were not getting like quality groceries either. So they're subsisting on things like condiments and ice. And leaves in the yard just to survive. So Jennifer, as the eldest, like I said, was also forced to discipline the younger siblings under threat of being caged or beaten herself if she didn't comply. And there were many times she said she thought about ending her life, as I imagine I would too.
Oh, sure.
Eventually, the family relocated to Paris, California, when David got a job at Northrop Grumman. So they registered their home as a private school, as a homeschool, which is this legal mechanism for homeschooling in California that requires virtually no oversight or inspection. And it was this loophole that would shield them from the abuse they afflicted upon their children for even longer. So in 2015, Jordan, who was 15 years old at the time, she somehow got a hold of, so the older siblings the parents would give a cell phone to so that they could reach them when they're out gallivanting and doing whatever it is they did. I know the mom had like major shopping addiction. I don't really think she worked because, David made a lot of money.
I was going to say.
But Jordan, the 15-year-old, somehow got a hold of her brother's cell phone. And so she starts like tuning into social media and YouTube and stuff. And she sees this like whole freaking wide world out there she's never been exposed to.
Yeah.
And there's like people her age and they have friends and there's music and there's Justin Bieber and there's like all these things and there's parents that you can talk to and they're not harming you and you can trust them. And she's just like, holy crap.
Yeah.
What is this? And so she becomes hooked. And Justin Bieber videos became her go-to. And it started like his video, like she'd watch every interview with him. She'd watch all his videos and it just made her think there's a better life out there. She learned because their parents never talked to them. So you've got a third grade education teaching these other kids. Their vocabulary was incredibly limited. And so she starts watching interviews, anything she could get her hands on with Justin Bieber. And that's how she learned to expand her vocabulary.
Oh, wow.
And so even interviews I watched after she's now in her 20s, her vocabulary is still very different because of just what she was exposed to. But I'll get to where she's at now with things. But so she's watching these interviews, and she once watched an interview with him about the concept of God.
Okay.
And and she's growing up as this Pentecostal whatever, like I don't know what you would call it.
Do they even take them to church at that point? I mean,
they're not taking them anywhere,
gonna
but
say
they're still teaching this stuff.
Okay.
And reading the Bible, but it's weird.
It is weird because I'm like,
The punishment, the stuff, like they tie almost anything they're doing back to the Bible. The Bible says this, the Bible says that. And I mean, you can twist anything you want,
totally.
right?
Yep.
So, and JB is talking about how God should be about leading with love and all these things rather than being conditional. And Jordan's kind of going, holy crap. My whole life is conditional. Like we're always afraid if we do this, then this is going to happen. Like, so she just, it didn't sync with her. But then that's when she started realizing that something was not right. Something was not right. So she has a secret phone. She starts trying to reach out to the outside world. And she doesn't really know how to do that. She's never had a conversation with anyone outside her family ever. And so she gets on social media, I don't know which one, and starts like sharing these little videos that she's making of herself with these homemade songs that she's making up. And they're the saddest. She was precious, just so precious. The scrawniest little thing. She's so malnourished. I mean, tiny, withered away, just like little bitty people. I'll get to how bad it was. But so she's mimicking things that she sees, and then she's trying to do these things herself, and then like connect with people and gain a following, and trying to like, is this how you do this? Is this how you, and then maybe this can be my way out, right? Yeah. So she's doing this, and someone finally says to her, like, it's kind of weird that it's always at night and you're always in a locked room when you're posting your videos. Like she's in the bathroom. And she's like, yeah, well, that's not normal. Yeah. Okay, so she's kind of like, okay. Yeah. And they're like, maybe you should call the police. So she's like, okay. So I think she had been preparing herself to call the police.
Yeah.
And, but she got busted watching a Bieber video. And her mom was so freaking angry, she attempted to strangle her. Oh. And so Jordan said, and the phone got taken away, obviously. So Jordan said in an interview with Diane Sawyer later that she truly believed she was going to be killed that day. And that was her deciding moment, though. That was if I make it through this, I have got to escape, or she's going to kill us. We're going to die. So this entire time, again, because David made pretty good money, Louise developed this serious shopping problem. It would eventually lead to them declaring bankruptcy. But so literally, KB, her kids are in clothing that hasn't been washed in years.
This is just absolutely insane for me to wrap my head around.
With body oil and grime and things, like caked. And she's got closets full of new kids' clothes with the tags still on them, taunting them. Toys and board games and things that she would collect. It's because her whole childhood was fucked
So the mom's childhood was totally screwed up.
Totally screwed up. And so now she's doing these things. She doesn't know how to be a mother. And it's like now she wants to be free and do all these things and sow her wild oats, and she can't do that. And it's like she's fighting for this childhood that she got robbed of and doesn't know how to be like, it's the worst culmination.
And then the husband's just kind of like, meh.
You got to see this guy. Do I have pictures? Hold on.
I mean,
because if you can put this guy's picture in your...
What's his name?
David Turpin. Look up this bull-headed creep. Like bowl cut is so bad. And no matter what stage of life, he thought this was let me see. Is that him? Yeah, it's him. What is that?
I don't know. So he's not normal either, because you can't be. I'm sorry, you can't be of a.
No matter the era, he looked like that.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like, y'all have to look up this. It'll be in the show notes.
Yeah,
too.
Kate
But
will
like,
get you pictures.
Kate will impose it over whatever. But like, you don't run around with this kind of a haircut and be a normal
like
thinking dude.
Like a helmet.
That is weird.
I just
I never in my life.
Yeah. But like, I mean, once in a while, like the kids had some toys, but like largely the stuff she'd buy and hoard and stockpile, they were not allowed to touch. And when I say piles, I mean every surface of everything, every corner of the floor, like everything is stacked with stuff in the wrapping. You can't, it's just like teasing them all the time when they could be out of their rooms like, you don't get to, whatever. Just really, really disturbing. So a few times, oddly, for show, I'm sure the kids were rounded up and taken on an actual vacation. So they went to Vegas one time for Dave and Louise to renew their vows.
Okay.
All 13 of them are there, all dressed alike. Another time was in Disneyland. She'd let them take a bath, get them matching outfits. They'd go on this trip. And these kids were terrified of the world. They didn't know how to interact in the world. And there was this video of Elvis marrying him, and they didn't know how to dance. Like, it's just, these poor, I mean, they were just so isolated. It was so, so upsetting. But they got to take a bath, and they got to get out of the house, so it was still like win,
we don't
right?
care, just
go.
go.
And then as soon as the outing was over, the trip to whatever was over, they'd go back into their dirty, crusty clothes, literally take the new clothes away from them and say, okay, great. I'll check you out of the closet in another year or so or whatever. So then David files for bankruptcy because...
I'd be standing out in the rain. Every time it rained, I'd be like, just wash over me.
They don't get to. I'll get to that.
Oh, gosh.
Plus, they live in really hot areas. They were in the Fort Worth, Texas area. Mm-hmm. Now they're in California. It's in hot air. Like, they're not getting... Yeah, even if they could. But I will get to those conditions, so you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So he files for bankruptcy, and the kids who were not eating well to begin with, they were already incredibly malnourished. They're subsisting on like peanut butter and bread and bologna. But meanwhile, Dave and Louise are eating like fast food and whatever they want all the time. And they would put out like pies and cakes and all these like decadent things and leave them right out in front of the kids and be like, don't you touch this. It's abuse.
That is abuse.
It's absolutely abuse.
Ridiculous.
It's torture. It's just terrible. So they were also forced, so that the neighbors maybe didn't even know they existed, to have strange schedule. So they would be up for just a few hours at night. They would sleep all day. They were never allowed to stand up so that people couldn't see them through the windows. And when the parents were away, they would open the windows to let in some fresh air. They were desperate for fresh air because they were living in literal decay.
Yeah.
Hot.
Yuck.
The house was hot. That accelerates decomp. There's fecal matter, human and pets, and they always had dogs around. And when it's just, so they'd sneak food. That's when they would talk to each other. That's when they're like trying to cram in lessons and therapy and all the things they could do to just survive this, just an absolutely miserable existence. They were tortured. And that's not even a strong enough word. But Louise would, like I said, torment them by leaving these desserts out. She would bait them, and then if they broke the rules because they're starving to death and take a swipe of a frosting or, you know, whatever, she'd beat them. She'd starve them, tempt them. I mean, just zero mothering instinct in her body. But it gets darker. So when one of the children was 9 years old, she was caught stealing food from the pantry instead of like reality check. Her punishment, her parents gave her pet cat to some feral dogs in the neighborhood, and she was forced to watch as her cat was literally ripped apart in front of her. I think I said a fart, ripped a fart. She was ripped apart in front of her. Punishment. Like,
That's trauma.
I'm already torturing you. Let me now.
That is super scary, and it's almost like threatening. I don't like
It's
that at all.
terrible. It's terrible. So for years, these people imprisoned their children. They beat them. They strangled them. They were allowed to eat only once a day. They were permitted to bathe only once a year. Some of these kids were chained to their beds for trying to escape. Literally chained. I think one time the restraints, one of the boys, I think, was able to gnaw through it. So then they used actual chains instead of rope. But they could sometimes be bound for weeks or even months at a time. And this isolation went beyond physical. These kids had not seen a doctor in more than 4 years. They'd never visited a dentist.
Well, they probably didn't even get to brush their teeth.
No.
They didn't get to, oh gosh.
They lacked basic knowledge most of us would take for granted. Like when Jordan is finally talking to 911, they ask about medications, and she doesn't know what a medication is. Like, she just doesn't know that word. She didn't know what police really were. Like, they just had no idea of the outside world. So again, they're fed primarily peanut butter and bologna, sometimes maybe allowed a piece of birthday cake at parties. But, their parents would eat whatever they want right in front of them. They slept up to 20 hours a day. The house is disgusting. So Jordan, later, she's kind of the star of the show here. She tells the dispatcher that the smell was so bad she could sometimes barely breathe. And you know how, like, when you're in an environment like that, most of the time we can acclimate to the smell.
Yeah, you do. You get used to it.
That's how bad it was if she could hardly breathe. That means, the particles in the air are so thick that you're just not getting oxygen.
You're not getting clean oxygen. Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the boys already said that, chewed through the rope, blah, blah, blah. And so that's why they switched to change. There were times when both wrists were bound, so they couldn't even, scratch at the lice infesting them. Up to 2 months, only released to go to the bathroom. So Jennifer, the oldest, had attempted to escape at one point. And then for more than 2 years before January 2018, the Turpin children had been planning to escape. So the catalyst came when Jordan overheard her parents talking about moving the entire family to Oklahoma City, because now he's declared bankruptcy. Mm-hmm. There's some kind of job, and so they want to move to where this job is. And then the mom told them, once we move there, you're all going to be chained up. And so she's like, the move is slated for the next day. If we don't make our move now, we're not going to survive.
Yeah.
We're all going to be dead. So on the night of January 14th, 2018, Jordan and one of her younger sisters, who was 13 years old, climbed out of a bedroom window. The younger girl, and you can see this on someone's door camera, ring camera, kind of freaked out and became afraid and went back. Oh. But Jordan kept booking it. But
I'm out of here.
Yeah. But Jordan kept going. She had never been out of the house alone in her entire life. She's 17 now, I think. What did I say? Was she 17?
I know you said the little one the other one was 13, I thought you said.
I'm pretty sure she's 17, the older one.
Okay.
So she gets where she thinks she's safe. She has this phone she restole.
Oh, right.
It's deactivated, but she knows it'll call 911. She's learned that much. So she calls the dispatch. And
I'm glad that she knows 911.
Yeah. So she stuffed some items in her bed, to make it look like her body's there, which wouldn't take much because she probably weighed 10 pounds. She put on the cleanest clothes she could find so that she didn't offend whomever she ran into. She's thinking about those things, right? She sneaks out the window, and you can see, how wobbly her legs look as she's trying to, run down the street. She doesn't know what a sidewalk is. It's in the dark anyway. So she's got her secret phone, and very smartly, these kids are incredibly intelligent. So tortured, but intelligent. She had taken photos of her sisters chained up, her little younger sisters chained up. to prove the police, because she knows the story's going to sound crazy.
Yeah.
Now that she's had this glimpse of the outside world, and this isn't people's norm, everyday thing. She's like, I've got to give him proof. I've got to give him proof. So she gets a safe enough distance away. She dials 911, but like she's shaking so badly, it takes like multiple attempts to dial those 3 simple numbers. So the cop comes, she starts talking to him, and she's just like super helpful. She shows them the photos. She's never talked to a stranger in her life. So the first one's dispatch, and now there's this cop there. And when asked for her address, she gives them a zip code she'd written down because she didn't know what an address really was. That's when dispatch asked her if she used any type of medication, and she's like, I don't really know that word. Officer sees the photos of the 2 sisters chained up, and he's like, okay, I'm not dealing with a typical runaway, right? So they call in reinforcements, and this is like wee hours of the morning anyway. So they call in reinforcements. So at this point, daylight is starting to dawn. The cops kind of approach the house.
How'd they figure out which house?
She was able to show them.
She was, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so David and Louise eventually answered the door at 2 minutes and 10 seconds later. Took them 2 minutes and 10 seconds to open the door. They looked quite panicked. You can see Louise's eyes are big and her chest is heaving.
Yeah.
And like she's just in total disarray. It's like, what have you just been trying to hide, you psychopath, right? The deputies were so slick. They were nice. They were calm. They told them, hey, we got this call. We just need to do a welfare check, make sure everything is like going on, that everybody's okay here. And David's like, well, do you need a search warrant? He's like, no, we don't need one. And they just kind of shoulder their way in past him.
Did they notice? I mean, is the stench in the
Yes.
normal part of the house?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's everywhere.
I'm sure.
It's everywhere. These piles and this shit, all the windows are closed up. There's no AC, there's no fresh air. So
I'm like, how does he go to work?
Big house, and it is stuffed, and it's stenchy, and it's hot.
Yuck.
It's gross.
Yuck.
It's gross. So they move on in. They said the stench of excrement and dead animals was so brutal. So one of the deputies is distracting Louise and David while the others go in and search the home. They hear barking dogs, and the first kid they see, I think it was Jennifer, but she looked so tiny. She's just so tiny. They see this super pale, dirty, emaciated girl walking kind of in the back by the kitchen. And then they find 2 little girls on their beds. They're caked in dirt. Their tiny little arms are just like all bruised up. But the chains they saw in the photo Jordan showed them are missing. Okay. So that's what they'd been doing in that 2 minutes and 10 seconds. In the next room, they whisper to the kids like, hey, we're here to help you.
Yeah.
And ask them, where are the chains? Like, show us where the chains are. We're going to help you. We're here to help you. And they do. And then they see another bedroom hiding behind these stacked moving boxes. And that's kind of what David was standing in front of. So it was more in the front of the house. And so they kind of figured this out, and that's where the boys are. And they didn't have time to unlock and unchain those boys. So they found children chained up. So he's got chains on his ankle. One is still chained to the bed. And so they knew what they were doing was wrong, and they were trying to cover it up. So the kids tell them where they can find the chains used on the girls, and things just started kind of unraveling. So after decades, because the oldest child, I think, was 29 when they got rescued. This had gone on for that long.
Oh my gosh.
She was 29.
Was that child still there?
Yeah, this is Jennifer.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So these monsters were placed into police custody. It takes them a while. They finally find a key for the locks for the other kids and get them unchained. And I mean, trash, hip deep. They go into their bedroom and they find a baby in a crib. There's a baby in there. And the baby was the only one that was getting fed properly. It's like, then once you hit a certain limit, it's like, whatever. So 13 children ages 2 to 29 are taken to the hospital. They were extremely dehydrated. They were extremely malnourished. And the effects of that chronic malnourishment were pretty serious. So the 29-year-old Jennifer, she weighed 82 pounds when rescuers saved her. A 12-year-old had the arm circumference equivalent to that of a 4-month-old baby.
No.
Some of the older children had the physical stature of like young teenagers despite being adults. So David and Louise Turpin were arrested that morning. Bail was set at $12 million for David and $9 million for Louise. So they remained in custody. And I like to imagine they were chained to their jail beds, but probably that didn't happen because it's illegal. But some days. So the charges were really widespread. Dave and Louise were each charged with 12 counts of torture, 12 counts of false imprisonment, 7 counts of abuse of a dependent adult, 6 counts of child abuse. David received an additional charge, which was a lewd act on a child under 14. I probably don't want to know, but I also could not find details of what that was. Louise's attorney attempted to have her placed in a pretrial mental health diversion program, citing a diagnosis of histrionic personality disorder, and the judge denied the request. He said Louise poses a risk to the public. Yeah. Do you know what HPD is? Have you heard of that one? Okay, so it's this mental health condition characterized by this chronic pattern of attention-seeking behavior, excessive emotionality, and dramatic, often seductive actions. Huh. So her sister claims that Louise and their mother and some of them in their household were sexually abused by a close family member when she was little. This could explain her behavior. She endured these atrocities as a child and, really watched her mother be subjected to them as well. She left the house at 16, so she really never had the opportunity to be nurtured. Mm-hmm. And then this mental illness, blah, blah, blah. And then you add this faith element of I'm just supposed to pop kids out and I don't have my own shit together. Yeah. Like it's a recipe for disaster,
it is a recipe for disaster.
So on February 22nd of 2019, both David and Louise Turpin changed their pleas to guilty. And they admitted to all the stuff. And they did that to spare their kids a trial. Finally did something good. Mm-hmm. Louise is crying the whole time like she cares. And I think they did in their own way, but they're just so broken. Mm-hmm. Like the oldest children did come and speak at the hearing. I don't know. But at the sentencing in April of 2019, 2 of the children, both then in college at the time, addressed the court directly. And one of them said, my parents took my whole life from me, but now I'm taking my life back.
Good for them.
And then another one addressed the court. He said he still has nightmares of siblings being chained and beaten, but now he has learned to ride a bike. He has learned to forgive his parents, and he now rides his bike everywhere. Oh. They even bought these kids' bikes. They were brand new bikes in the driveway, but they'd never let him ride them.
It is so. Yeah. It's such weird behavior. Like, here's a gift.
It's torture.
But I'm going to use it as punishment.
I'm going to make you thirsty, and I'm going to put this water right here, and you can't have it. Like, it's
torture.
Yes. So David wept as his attorney read a statement saying he never intended any harm and was sorry if he caused it. Louise told the court she loved her children more than they could ever imagine and believed God had a special plan for each of them. Judge Bernard Schwartz was not moved. He addressed the defendants directly. He said, quote, children are indeed a gift. Mm-hmm. The selfish, cruel, and inhuman treatment of your own children has deprived them, your family, your friends, and society, and especially both of you, of those gifts, end quote. So they were both sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. Legal experts believe they will never receive parole given the severity of their child abuse. And as of 2026, David is still held at the California State Prison in Corcoran. Louise is at the California Institution for Women. If the story ended with the Turpin parents behind bars, that would already be a tragedy. Yeah. But what happened next added a second devastating chapter that blew my mind. So questions or anything before we reset? Because this next chapter is like, it's going to piss you off even more.
Well, I was fine with that as the ending.
No. KB, no. So the parents are out of the picture now. Okay. So 13 children, they're freed from this nightmare.
And but then get placed in...
Now they're in the state of California. Okay, so they get, remanded to whatever their DSS is there. The public is donating all this money to help these kids, just the goodness of their hearts. So there's like a bunch of resources raised. But because of the bureaucracy, these children were unable to access the resources. There's $600,000 sitting there and they can't touch it. There was money for school. There was money for living. But they're left again in squalor and destitute because the funds were put in a court trust. And the kids, the advocate that was supposed to help them gain access to the funds would be like, oh, you have a question on that? Just Google it. Just whatever. Like, this bitch was like next level. She did get fired, by the way. But anytime they reached out to this guardian, she would just like basically, peace out. Go figure it out
She
yourself.
was just like a court mandated guardian or
Yeah.
what? Okay.
Yeah. But they had no sense of the outside world. They had no fear of the outside world. They had no street smarts. They had no knowledge of the outside world. And these 13 children are just like, here you go. Good luck.
See ya.
Medical care, how to access that, how to access money, how to access food. They had no idea.
I'm surprised they didn't get put into like a foster.
Well, some of them did.
Okay.
So the younger ones were also victimized by the system. So, and if it happened to these kids with all this media visibility, you know it's happening to kids all the freaking time. So the top county attorney ignored the media's request for checking into this, as did the elected officials, but the journalists went after it. So this review was done. But what happened is, let me see how many of them. The younger children did go into foster care. Six of them, the youngest ones, were placed with a family in Paris. This was the Marcelino Camacho Olguin family and his wife Rosa and their daughter Lennis. I think this was a greater abuse than what they endured by their own parents in some respects, because they're now with this family. They think they're going into a safe household, and they were abused and tortured again. So there was a civil lawsuit filed in 2022 and alleged that the Olguin family hit the children in the face with sandals, pulled their hair, forced them to eat their own vomit, made them sit in a circle and recount the trauma they'd endured at their parents' home. Marcelino Olguin was accused of grabbing and fondling the girls and making lewd comments and kissing them on the mouth. And one of the people that got involved in prosecuting them said, I don't know what you would describe as far as torture goes, but that 5-year-old was being tortured on a daily basis. She was being given sleeping pills and then made to stand in this little taped square on the floor. And then when she'd get too tired and step out of the floor, they'd hit her or squirt her with something or whatever.
Like it's a game.
Yeah. They'd ring a cowbell. They'd squirt at her with a water bottle. If she fell down to the ground, they'd kick her. They'd pick her up, lock her in a bathroom. They'd leave her there until she settled down if she got upset. All these kids wanted was a loving family. And this is...
They went from like worse
to worse. Yeah.
My thing is, it's like, how do people like this
become foster parents?
Yes.
Yeah.
The system is so broken and so desperate that it's like it just nobody looks into anything.
Correct.
Because I've watched people here foster children and go into that or even try to adopt here, and that process is so difficult. Maybe that's difficult now, but it wasn't then.
This wasn't that long ago.
But that's where I'm like,
This was in 22. This was in 22.
I just don't get it.
Yeah. So the Riverside County Sheriff's Department opened an investigation in early 21. In November 21, all 3 members of the Olguin family were charged. In September of 24, they pled guilty. Marcelino Olguin was sentenced to 7 years in state prison. His wife Rosa and daughter Lennis each received 4 years of probation. An independent 635-page report commissioned by the Riverside County concluded that the social services system had failed the Turpin children not once but repeatedly. After their rescue, they faced housing instability, food insecurity. They lacked coordinated support. The infighting amongst their attorneys added further stress. I mean, it was just anything we could do to screw these kids over, they did. Just because it's so ineffective. It broke it.
People weren't giving, what the problem
No.
is people weren't giving, the people who were supposed to care stopped caring.
Yeah. But think about it. It's so visible. This was a very visible case. What about these kids who don't have media attention? I mean, and it was the media stuff that blew this open for them. If they were not a known commodity and their story had not made the news, those kids probably would be dead at the hands of their foster family. Mm-hmm. Like, it was just unbelievable. So as of early 2026, 12 of the 13 Turpin siblings are emancipated adults. They're in college, they're working, they're building lives. Only one who's around 10 years old now, so the one that Yeah, so it remains in foster care. And you can bet now they're checking on this
I'm
kid,
sure.
right? So in February of 26, there was an ABC News special called The Turpins, A New House of Horror. And it featured 3 of the siblings speaking publicly for the first time about all of this stuff. Jaleesa Turpin, who was 11 when she was placed with the Olguins, told Diane Sawyer, I just genuinely wanted to be safe. Their attorneys announced a confidential civil settlement with the Riverside County and ChildNet in February of 26. The terms remain sealed, but attorney Elon Zexter said the amount should assist them for the rest of their lives. I'm like, yes, yes, take care of these kids, damn it. I mean, how do all of these, because there's neighbors, they go back even in Texas and go, I thought it was strange. There's all these new bikes in the driveway, but I never saw any kids.
This
Like,
is where
Be nosy. I don't care at this point. Freaking be nosy.
Yeah. But I've said that before too, because I know that I've had times, in the past where it's like, oh, I think this might be going on in this house, at my neighbor's house, but I don't want to call on them and have them get pissed at me.
Do it anonymously.
I'm like,
do something.
Who cares?
Welfare check. You can do it anonymously, though.
And I had said that. I'm like, just do it. I'm like, if you don't do it, and then years later you find out that kid was indeed being hurt. Mm-hmm. How do you live
You're
with
gonna
that?
feel worse.
Yeah, I'm like, I would rather be wrong.
I'd rather have my neighbor
and have
not like
my neighbor
me.
not like me.
Yeah.
In an effort to try and take care of this innocent child that's possibly being hurt, than
Absolutely.
to let it go.
Absolutely.
I don't know. But I think it's overthinking things. People overthink, or they worry about like, well, what happens to me? Doesn't matter.
Just put yourself in whatever you think is happening, that person's shoes, the victim's
Yep.
shoes. And if you'd want someone to call in a lifeline for you,
Yeah, then
just
that's what you should do.
Just do it.
Yep.
And if you're not sure how to proceed, we get calls. I'll get calls.
Yes.
Like, hey, can you ask your husband this? Or can you talk to your husband?
Yeah.
So, calls all the time on things like, who should I talk to about this? Or,
Yeah. What do you
ask.
think? Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I will say Jordan is just this unbelievable person. Let me give you one little anecdote first. So part of this documentary, they did the detective who led the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
They got to the cop that got to meet Jordan on the 911 call. They got to reunite.
Oh,
It
nice.
was just so sweet. But Jennifer, they were asking about, what they did. She heard music at the hospital and just got up and started dancing and sunlight and fresh air. It was just 29 years.
That makes me cry.
It does make me cry. I cried a lot researching this one. I'm like, I don't know why we do this. So please help us grow, because I'm suffering for you all. Oh, but they survived and they found their voices and they changed laws.
Yeah.
And Jordan, though, she says, I don't want our name to be remembered for all the horrible stuff. I want it to be remembered as strength.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are not weak or broken. We survived. So anyway, that's the amazing Turpin children.
Poor kids, my goodness.
Yeah. So a lot of things in the show notes, some really good content if you really want to dig in, because even 9 pages of notes was not enough to cover everything that these 13 siblings endured. So
crazy. Well, I'm glad that in a sense it had a happy ending.
Yeah.
I got a little worried there, but
Well, the shithead parents are hopefully going to be in prison forever and get the mental health help they need and think about the consequences of their actions. Can you imagine not having your kids in your life?
No. I mean, I'm having a hard time, now kind of parenting a teenager because in the teenagers, I know that it'll come back around, but in the teenagers, so you, as a mom, you go from having babies who need you and want to be around you, and then they start to get a little bit older, and then you hit these teenage years, and it's they're becoming independent themselves. They need to.
Yeah. Cut the cord, lady.
Yeah, and so it's even just going through that, it's trying to give give her space to just be who she is and kind of grow into who she is, but still being there to kind of like be available if and when they need you, you know, that's hard. Because I just want to still be her mom, you know? So, no, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, no.
Humans are wired instinctively to
Care
and not want a child or an animal or an elder or somebody to suffer, right?
Yep.
We want to care for people and animals and that can't care for themselves.
Absolutely.
And not these two shitheads or the freaking Olguin family. Like, what the hell?
That was
really
twisted.
That's what's worse to me is like, clearly there's mental illness in the parents, and that's horrible. It's inexcusable, all the things that they did to these kids. But to go, like, you know that you're getting these kids out of this
and you're
situation.
Like, yes, we have new toys
and I'm
going
to be the next
I'm going to make it worse.
thing to play. And you poke at that and you torment.
That's
like,
wicked.
It is not enough time. They need to be in prison just as long as the crazy parents.
No, that's
4 years of probation. I'm sorry, that is not enough. And then what did he get?
7.
Fuck, that's bullshit. California, do better, man.
I know. Ugh.
Palate cleanser. Should we do some
Yes. So
crisis and comedy or whatever the hell it's called? Crisis hotline.
Crisis hotline. So what we're doing now is just to kind of like, in a way, move on from some of these hard stories and some
it's
of
like eating ice cream after a really shitty dinner. It's a good taste in your mouth. Yeah.
And so we're going to take listener questions, if you will. So as you guys have questions, whether they're random ones,
And I don't know these.
we don't know these. So.
Okay.
I mean, I've
don't
got
know
them.
either?
I haven't looked at them yet.
Okay.
So, but we're going to take these, and sometimes you guys can ask for advice. You can ask us, I mean, just whatever, anything. We'll see if we can answer
Just
it.
don't ask my bra size, please.
Or mine. I will not tell you.
We're not going to go there.
Don't ask weird questions.
Or how old are you? Because that one could be a sore point too.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So, are you ready? Here's the first one. This person writes in, I found out my boyfriend has been cheating on me with an AI girlfriend. What should I do?
Whoa. Wait, one more time. So this person says their boyfriend has been cheating on them with an AI
girlfriend. So I found out my boyfriend has been cheating on me with an AI girlfriend.
Okay.
What should I do?
Cut ties, later days.
Yeah. Because I think that I would. Yeah, absolutely. I'd be done. So because, well, I mean, I guess, so like if you have somebody in your life that has a porn addiction or any type of addiction, they can work to get over that. So if you can talk to him and be like, this is not healthy because it's not healthy for him. It's not healthy for your relationship.
No, it's not healthy
for him in any capacity.
No.
And so it's like, if you can get him to acknowledge that and accept it and maybe get some help, then maybe there's some working room. I guess it depends on how serious the relationship is. But regardless, I would totally tell him that it's not healthy for him to and walk away.
Well, it's not healthy in a relation. Like,
period.
I mean, you are interfacing with code because we did an episode on this.
Yeah, we did a whole entire.
Yeah, but like you're interfacing with code for a certain response and it's not reality. Pretty soon, these muscles that you need to exercise in order to interface and navigate reality successfully are going to atrophy. And then if it's an AI girlfriend, then pretty soon, I mean, I'm sorry, someone who's perfect and who's coded to be agreeable and all these things and tell you you're just the most amazing creature on God's given earth.
Yeah.
You as the girlfriend are going to be left lacking.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can't
there's
compete
just
with that.
no way. There's no way. You're going to be used for sex and physical whatever, but they're thinking about the AI bot.
And maybe not, because if they're getting all their
I'm not doing it.
rocks off with the AI bot.
Well, then what's in it
left
for me as the girlfriend?
I just think I would be like, I'm out. Here's
I don't
why.
want a
And you need to get
situation personally,
You need some help.
particularly with a digital or otherwise.
Yeah.
Throuple, not my cup of tea. Might be your cup of tea, and that's fine. But you asked for our advice, and that's mine. So
well, and I agree
later
with you.
days.
Because my thing too, and I'm like, and don't go to AI for your therapy to get away from your AI issues. Like, I don't know. Get off the computer, go outside, take a hike. You know what I mean? Like, come on, people.
Take a hike. Yeah. Man. And I think trying to, if you really care about this person, getting to the root of why they're going to this thing for.
Yeah.
What need is it meeting? Why are they using this to cope? There might be something deeper. They need a therapist.
That's why I compared it to like a porn addiction.
Absolutely.
It's easy access to certain things like that.
Good Lord.
And then people are like, well, I'm not watching, porn, or I'm not, but it's filling some type of. Well,
I mean, it's dopamine hits. It's these it becomes this echo chamber of like, oh, I have all these. Oh, that's a great idea. I think you should do that. I think you're so smart. I think you're amazing. I think you're yeah. And then it's like, my boss said this about me. Well, that's just untrue. You were I mean, it's like, and then pretty soon it's like, well, my AI boss said this, and then now you're chewing your boss out, and you're just like, nothing. No, you're in a dream world, babe. This is like Vanilla Sky, old movie. Some of you may not know. Classic though.
Was that the one with Tom Cruise and
Cameron Diaz, and Penelope Cruz?
Yeah.
But he's living in a dream world, baby. Yeah. Spoiler alert, but it's like, what, 40 years old?
Yeah. Yeah, it's old.
30 years old. I don't remember, but it's old. Anyway, was that it, or do we have another one?
I think we'll just do one.
Do one? Okay, cool. Well, thanks.
Yes.
Anonymous, whoever wrote that in, that's awesome. So if you have one, write it in. But I think that's a wrap for today.
Keep them coming. All right. Well, thanks, guys. As always, leave us a 5-star review, share with your friends, and hit us up if you've got questions. Send them to hello@crisisandconsequences.com, and we will see you next week. Bye.